First, let's create a new project here. Let's copy this, and then let's launch our Visual Studio Code. Full screen that, and let's open a new terminal. Then let's paste it here. Let's name it Authentication. Once we're done, let's go to our project Authentication, and then let's check our version of Laravel. So as of now, our version of Laravel is 6.6. So let's try to do the artisan make auth command, and as you can see, there is no available because Laravel completely removed it by default as of 6.6. So let's open our project. Tutorials, authentication. There you go. So this is our project. Let's see what files we have here. Let's open the app. HTTP and controllers. So by default we have an auth folder there. So we can see our login controller and the registrar controller. By default, Laravel created this for us on their boilerplate. So let's check our migration, the user migration. So let's see. As usual, we have a default columns, name, email, etc. Let's see our views, and all what we have is the welcome views for the default Laravel application. Let's see our route. We have a welcome there. Let's check our environment configuration. So first, we're gonna make a database. So you can use any database management tool or software. Mine will be using the default MySQL. I'm gonna create a database named Authentication, and then I'm gonna update the configuration. And let's try to migrate. User migrate, PHP artisan migrate. And there you go. So let's check our database if it was migrated successfully. So we have the user tables, and let's see what columns we have there. So there you go. We have successfully migrated the user migrations. So first, let's create our views. Let's name this layout, and let's create another folder, name auth, and let's rename this to home, and let's get rid of all of this and create a new one. I'm gonna change this to authentication. Let's grab some bootstrap here. I'm gonna copy that. Let's paste it here. I'm gonna toggle the word drop so that we can see our code more clearly. Let's put a container here, like this row and a column. There you go. I think we should put a jumbotron here so we'll have a container. Let's have the width of the parent, and let's give it a vertical margin of 5 and center it. Let's name this home so we'll know that this is the home, and let's have a link here to the logout route. let's give it a class of a button secondary. Okay. Now let's create our layout. Let's call it app. I'm gonna do the same. Name it authentication. I'm gonna copy it here. And we will be yielding all the contents in the body. So let's name this content. And now we'll be creating our auth view files. So let's create first our login views and our register view. So I'll be extending the layout that we have created earlier in the section for our yielding content. So I'm gonna put some container here, a row and a column. Let's put it a jumbotron here. So we have created that so quick. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna give it a vertical margin of 5 and center it. Also the width of the parent half. I'm gonna create a form here and fire it on login and a method of post. Let's put some CSR field. I'm gonna create an input element here and class of form control. I'm gonna create a button here for the submit button and a link to our register form. Let's give it a class, or let's put perhaps it on the right corner of our form. And let's define a name for these two inputs. First our email, and this is for password. Let's change that to password, and then let's define our placeholder so users can distinguish what's this input for. So let's define our route. We'll be redirecting users to home once we hit the root URL. And then let's create our route for the home. And we'll be using the middleware auth. So this will be representing the protected routes for the user. If the user is logged in or authenticated, the user can access this route. So let's create our login routes. Let's create a get method for the login so we can see the login form. And we'll be using the auth namespace as we have seen earlier. And let's put our login controller, and let's see the show login form, and let's name it login so the login controller know where to redirect. Let me show you that here in the auth. There you go, the right redirect and the construct. You can see also we have an authenticate class here, all the way in the vendor, framework, etc. And this is the method we are looking for. Show login form and This is the login method, validate, method exists, and so other steps responsible for logging the user. Authenticated, username, log out. So let's see our register controller. Just redirect, show login form, registration form, register. So now let's create the post method for the login. So this will be hit when the user log. And let's target the login method. Let's create here the route for the registers so we can see the registration form. Let's name it register, so the register controller know where to redirect. Let's create route for the register. Let's create a logout here, and let's change that to get. There you go, we have all the routes we need. So first, let's serve and see what changes we have made this so far. Compose 8,000, and there you go, our login form. So let's change that. We have to distinguish what forms we have. So let's put an h1 here and name this login. Let's give this some class. And there you go, a button of a primary. So yeah, we have a decent login form here. Now let's copy this and paste it on the register. Let's change this to register, and let's fire this to register. So in our migration, we'll be using name, email, and only password to register our user. So let's create that. Let's change this to name, text, and then full name. The same, and we have a password confirmation here. The name is password confirmation, and the placeholder is, there you go. Let's change this to register, and this is for login. So I'm gonna use some alerts, so when we have an error, it will show the user. Let's grab that and paste it here. Let's fix the indentation. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Let's change this first to danger, and let's change some text. Let's get rid of that and do this. Let's put some unordered list. and error, and let's check if this is working. So there you go, we have our error message. So let's copy this and let's contain it in an if condition, and if there is any errors, what errors, let's show these components or elements, and let's for each element. So errors using the all method, and let's name this error. So there you go, we have an error messaging feature there. So let's try to register. Let's put a password that is not the same, so it will fire us some error. Now we'll register, and it will show us the homepage. This means we are logged in, and we have a logout button there that is linked to the logout. So let's try to log out, and it will redirect us to the login. So we'll copy this here and paste it here for our login form. This will serve us. So let's try to log in with someone's Gmail. This is not registered, and it will give us some error that it doesn't exist on the database. So let's log in, and there you go, we have logged in successfully. We can log out and switch forms. So we have our app and our HTTP and our controllers. Let's see our login controller. So we have our redirect variables to home, and we have this authenticate users. So let's see that. We have a redirect, show login form that return the blade, the login method itself, and it has too many login attempts, and this will attempt the login, send response, increment the login attempts. So we have our validate. We can put some validation rules here, for example, maximum or minimum. This is for our attempt login, and our credentials. Send login response that has a session generate, and when it is authenticated, this will function fire. The username, it will be used to authenticating some user. You can change it wherever you want. And our log function, it will redirect to the root, and a guard. Let's now see our register controller. So we have also a redirect to home, a middleware, and a validator. So this is the method that actually saved the data to the database. Let's see our register user class, and we have a form here, a register method, and it validates, and a card. Let's see our database, I guess. Migration, name, email, password. Let's see our views. And under the auth and under the layouts, let's check our login. So we have a form here and an error messages. The first CSRF, password, email, login, and register. Register. We also have an error message here, a form that is to accept some register inputs. And the layouts for our templates. And this is our home, or that template for our protected view. Let's see our route. We have a redirection function here, the home, and we have our home itself, and we have our login that is under the namespace auth, login, logout, and their method. So we have a register controller that handles our registration form. So I guess that's it.